Hello and welcome to Brew Babes podcast. I am your host, Danielle Snicker, also known as Sassy Cider Chick, which I actually did hear from someone who watches the show that they love that we say our name and our handles. So we're going to keep going with that. So thank you so much for that feedback. I love feedback. With me today is the amazing, the beautiful, the St. Pete beer babe, and my beer life mate, Kat Jones. How are you today?
So good. It's so nice to be home.
No, I
We've been
know.
doing so much traveling. It's so nice to just be able to be home for a little bit and ground myself.
I know. And we're home, but Taylor is still not home.
No, she's traveling like a crazy lady. She's doing it.
She's been gone. She's not with us today. She is so excited that we get to do this episode. I did talk to her yesterday, but she was with us in Jacksonville. And then we went to Tallahassee, but she went to Missouri. She did her maid of honor duties for her best friend's wedding. And then we all kind of came back for literally a day. And then she went off to Arizona because if you don't know, while me and Kat, and this is probably why we're a little more on the sassier, jaded side of things. Me and Kat work full-time in beer. Taylor actually has another job, and she's amazing at it. She does astrology readings, and she works in that kind of field. And she got to go to this big conference. It's in Arizona. She's loving it over there. I talked to her kind of late last night. But it was late for me. It was not late for her because of the time difference.
Right. Time. Yeah.
But yeah, she's having a great time. She wishes she could be here with us today, but she had all these breakouts to do today, so she couldn't jump on with us. So she's still traveling until I think she's got 3 more days before she comes home.
So exciting for her. I love that.
It is. I miss her. The one thing I told her is I can't wait for you to come back to so we can all catch up and be back together again. But she's following her path and her dreams also, and I'm so appreciative of that for her. So, and then we have we have so many announcements to make.
So
many announcements to make.
It's been bottling up for me. I don't know about you, but it's all I want to do is talk about it. We're we gotta wait, but
yeah,
it's time. It's officially happening.
But it is so exciting. Some of the opportunities that we received while we were traveling. So first of all, because we have not seen we've seen each other, but we have not been able to connect with people who watch us, which by the way, July was our biggest month. We had 15,000 views with almost 8,000 viewers. August is going to be even bigger. We already are at the 20,000 view mark. We've got about 8,000 viewers already. So we're about halfway through the month. It's just been growing kind of exponentially for us, which I know you feel this way too, but I'm so grateful to be able to do this.
Me too.
And to just be able to connect with other women in the industry and connect with each other and just be able to kind of.
Yeah. It's so rewarding.
Right?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know how to describe it because it's I knew that we've had this support, but and the stories and things like that, but to be able to in the past few weeks just be able to connect with so many other amazing women who are on the same journey or completely different journeys and just finding their own way, and for all of us to be able to come together with such a wonderful, inspiring thing. Yeah. It's good.
It's been
a good fucking month.
Yeah, it is. Right. I mean, I can't even fathom what we have coming up because it's just been such an incredible journey so far. But we were in Jacksonville with our dear friend Paloma, who is just the badass behind the Florida Brewers Guild.
Yeah,
and we got invited out there and it was so much fun. And I did not go to any of the breakout sessions the first day. I did get to go the second day. But we got to go to Myrtle Beach Avenue Brewing, the Kickbacks Gastropub, which is a craft beer icon.
Oh my God. It was so cool.
Right? Learning some of the history of that. And I will, I want to specifically give a shout out to Major over at Tampa Bay Brewing Company. And all the guys over there. Seriously, I love you guys so much. David Doble, who kind of hung out with us that night, and everybody, we just got to have so much fun. But Major actually brought us around and was showing us, I think it was right before you had gotten there, but then I brought you around and told you all the things he told me. literally kind of went through all of the beer history, and we got down into the cellar to see all these like this huge beer not displays, but like collection that they have that is also for sale, but like just some of the most amazing things, and got to hear the history of all of these really cool things. So like
I felt like I was
honestly,
like transported back into time. Like
yes,
not only because of like the amazing beer selection that they had, which is like just like, really cool aging bottles, but like just the dungeon vibe. Like
so
it
fun.
really felt like it was such an experience, and the staff were so kind, and just I mean, all the people there was like the first night of conference, so it was
Yeah.
really just saying hello to people that I haven't seen in a long time, making new friends that night. That was such a great spot to kick off to,
Yeah.
and a wild beer selection. Like haven't seen some of
Crazy.
those in a long time.
Yeah. No, and again, like I said, Major is like one of my favorite humans on the planet, let alone
Yeah,
in
he
the
all right.
industry.
He's pretty cool.
Like
He's pretty cool.
like he definitely didn't need to take the time out to like introduce me to so many people and like tell me all the history of everything, but he does. And like he's so helpful, and I wanted to give him a shout out because like he's just amazing. So and everybody at Brewing Company has been just absolutely phenomenal people to us and some of our closest friends.
Man, I feel like I should be drinking a Reef Donkey, but
I
I'm gonna
know.
open up a blondie lager here.
No, you're spilling a blondie lager.
No, spilling a beer against the rules.
No, right? And we got to meet so many really cool people, and our booth was actually right next to Pink Boot Society,
Yes.
which was so fun, and getting to see the girls again. So that was super cool. What were some of your biggest takeaways from conference?
Oh my god. I think that everyone there just was, members of the Florida Brewers Guild. They they pay to be members for various reasons, to get updates throughout the year, to understand what's going on in craft beer, to support the guild, which is so important. I learned a lot about the guild, how it started in 1995 by a bunch of small breweries who were like, obviously in the late 90s, we were just getting started in Florida in regards to that. So I think my favorite part is the people always, but I think just really getting to sit down and listen to some of the sessions, and really just, take notes on what I can do to better the people that I work with, and the space, that having a different perspective, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like when you're listening to somebody else who's really in depth and passionate about what they came to talk about their session for on the panel, getting to hear their stories, and inspiring, answering questions. Like I am a question asker. Even if I think it's a stupid question, I don't care, because I don't know the answer. I want to know the answer. So I had just was like filling my brain with all of this amazing knowledge. But to me, like the overall theme of a lot of the sessions wasn't necessarily about making your beer better. Obviously, I didn't go to the the brewer focused things. I went towards more like marketing and things like that. But I got to talk with Joel from Jacksonville Brewers Alliance, and a couple of other sessions. A lot of them are really driven around our consumers and our community, and how do we strengthen our community so that this industry can continue to grow, and what can you do differently, whether that's in your tap room or in the market, to build on relationships with each other. And then getting to have we had longer breaks in between sessions, because I always feel like you're hustling right to go to the next session, to oh, I got to get here, but like there was actually like windows of time where you could go up
Hmm.
and talk to people without missing the next session, which was really cool. And one of the sessions I went to, the lager panel that Anthony put on with Ben and Chris and Eric from Green Bench, Grand Central, TBBC. We we actually went overtime into lunch, and then people were still asking questions and still asking questions. I think that's a really cool part of
Love that.
conference, is like getting to hang back and have these conversations with the amazing people who are taking time not only to be there, but to help everyone else grow. And I think the really cool thing about craft beer in our industry overall, which some people don't really understand, is we're not in competition with each other.
Right.
We're here to help each other grow,
Hmm.
because if we grow together, then the industry is elevated through education, through experience, through multiple different things, including making your beer better, right? How to make beer overall improved. But I think a lot of that
Right.
has to do with community, and I was just so excited to hear a lot of amazing people talk about why craft beer is going to continue to grow, and it's because of people who are in it and the people who support it. So that is my favorite
Yeah,
part.
I think sometimes because I actually had someone comment this to me because we got to see a lot of people in person, and one of the things that they said is that they had taken issue with me saying that it's a competitive market.
Mm,
And I actually understand why they took an issue with me saying it. They're like, I love your show, but you keep calling it a competitive market, but we're very collaborative. We don't compete. And I did have to clarify, and I do want to clarify that. I don't say it's a competitive market because breweries are competing with each other, because they're not. Almost all of the breweries in the craft beer industry can't wait to help each other succeed. They can't wait to collaborate on different things. If you need a resource that they have, they're more than willing to get it over. There is no that competition kind of spirit is not something you see in the industry. When I talk about it being a competitive market, that is just a business term of there are a lot of options for consumers. So there is a lot of options. Consumers have a finite amount of money, but there's a lot of options for them to spend it. And that's what I mean by competitive market, not that the industry itself is competing. We're not competing. No brewery is going like, oh, I wonder what they're doing so I can do it better. Nobody cares. They're like, wow, you have a full tap room. That's so awesome. Like, I love that for you. Like nobody is, there's not jealousy. There's not competition. There's only collaboration, love. If I have the resource, you have the resource kind of, towards each other. So when I talk about it being a competitive market, it's literally just that there's a lot of beer and corporate beer also, like, right? So if a consumer only has $20 extra to spend, they have to choose where to spend it. That's the competition in a consumer's mind, not that we're competing with each other. Because the whole reason I fell in love with the industry is that there isn't that competitive nature. The nature is always we're in this together. And
I
it's a
definitely
community.
felt that. I definitely felt that going, and I do, and I said this before we went. I was like, I'm gonna come back so inspired and so invigorated, and relight the flame. That's why we get together to
Yeah.
do these things. You know, as somebody who isn't sure if they wanted to join the guild because they're like, what value does that
Right.
create for me? And what value does my business get out of it if I'm spending X amount of dollars on a membership for the guild? Because, I'm not interested in some of the things that they're lobbying for, or it doesn't benefit me. I think the really important thing is to remember that you're making an investment
Yes.
in your education, you're making an investment in your connections, and you're making an investment in your personal growth or your team's personal growth. And I think there's a lot of owners out there that, really support their team's growth. They understand that this might be a stepping stone. My assistant brewer, my cellarman, or my front of house manager may not always be with me, but I
Hmm.
want to, when they get to their next spot, say,
Yeah.
I learned so much from this business. I learned so much from my owner. I had a great leadership
Right.
team. And then I think the best owners of all of them really say, this isn't this is your next step. I want to see you grow. I want to be a part of your growth and development. And then there's breweries that don't do that, and that's on them, and that's on their leadership and their mentality. But the ones that do come to
Yeah.
conference,
Yeah.
and they bring their team with them, and I think that that's a unique and special thing. And Paloma and all of the volunteers did such an amazing job.
Yes.
There were so many of them out there. I can't name them all, but Jess and Joanne specifically, running around, making sure we were hydrated the whole time. And
Yep.
there's a lot of things that I understand now more than ever with being a part of Beer Week. There's so many things that go into behind the scenes
Yes.
before the planning all year long, the invitations, making sure people are, they have all this swag when they get there. That not only are your vendors happy, but that your panels are set up properly where it's not a bunch of people just feeding you ads of like, hey, buy blah, blah, blah yeast because our yeast is the best. Like the educational portion of that. And then also we're using this product. So I think it was really well balanced this year. I think the entire Florida Brewers Guild, not just Paloma, the entire board did a great job
Yes.
with planning and organizing. And I was really happy to see it in Jacksonville because
I
Jacksonville's
know.
so freaking cool. I wish that I could have gotten, out to all of the places that were on my
I
list
know.
because, you
There's
make
a
a
lot
list and you're
there
just like,
now.
what's that?
There's a lot of breweries out there
There's
now.
so many breweries, and learning about the Jack's Ale Trail was so cool. And I got to talk with Visit Jack's, the city organization who helps the Jacksonville Brewers Alliance with that. I got some great conversation with Joel, and everybody there was just so amazing. It was just such a good time. And then Pink Boots on top of that, like, ah,
I know.
so many good conversations. I didn't, it's crazy. Like, we didn't really even drink that much because we were just trying to like continue to go to the next spot.
Yes.
And, my family just thinks, oh, you're going on a beer trip, so you're just going to be wasted the whole time. Like, it was just genuinely so cool to like the beers that I had in hand were from the people who made those beers that I had
Yeah.
never had before. And so I got to genuinely have a conversation with them about their craft and what they're doing and why they love it. It was so nice.
Yeah, no, I actually came away, like I always feel like whenever we're with I'm with my people, I come back very like, like refreshed and revitalized. I actually came back like very inspired, very much, like I said, I didn't get to go to a lot of breakouts, but I got to talk to so many people in the industry. And I really got to, I almost want to say like, I feel better about the things that I'm doing now, and I'm more confident in what I'm doing after coming out of there. Number one, to see so many people that knows what we're doing and supports what we're doing, and they were so not like they were so supportive and so helpful and it's just so amazing. And it's like, oh my gosh, like sometimes, like you feel like you're, well, I'm just talking into a camera and whoever listens, but no, there's like real people that are like, I love what you guys are doing and it's so needed in the industry. And what you guys are saying is so helpful and so good. And so like it definitely, I came out of there and even some of the breakouts, like I came out of there because I need to take breakouts that are things that are not my wheelhouse. Cause sometimes I
Yes.
take a breakout that is
Right?
my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And then I go, well, I didn't learn anything. So I actually took a breakout on packaging and like, selling, in-store package sales, which I'd never learned anything about. And that was so great, and so like going into like an accounting one or a marketing one, I kind of go like, oh yeah, like that's it, but then it also is a little more of like, yeah, you're on the right track. Like this is
Right.
what these people are also saying.
You're like, okay, cool. I didn't just make this up. This is
Right.
what's happening in the market across the board. That makes me feel
Right.
validated. Yeah, no, I get that. But it's
Yeah.
important
And
to
so
to test your boundaries a little bit too.
right.
Yeah.
And getting to learn about package sales, offsite package sales and stuff like that was really cool. So I came back very like inspired, very much like I'm on the right path, and the hustle sometimes is hard. And sometimes, like just going and promoting the show everywhere and promoting this everywhere. And, like it can be like overwhelming, but it's resonating. And that was just it was just such a cool thing. So for me, like I came back very much like inspired, probably a little more sassy,
Wait,
but
you can get sassier? What?
I think a little more sassy of like, I'm not going to let anyone dull my shine. Like, I'm not going to let anyone like I'm just not like,
Yeah.
it is what it
Hey,
is. Like this is it.
as the great Taylor Swift once said, haters gonna hate, 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 hate.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off.
Yeah. So, and then we got to come home for a couple days and then we packed it up and went to
Yep, did
Tallahassee.
our laundry, and then got right back in the car and drove the other direction. I went up 19 all the way, so that was fun.
Yeah, me too. So instead of going across the state, I went just straight up.
I was a passenger princess on the way to Jacksonville, so
You had to
I drove the
actually
whole
drive to
way.
Cali.
Yeah. It's fine. It's good. I'm loved. It's fine. But yeah, no, I
Traumatizing.
honestly I wish that I had gone up a day earlier and we could have driven together and it would have been more fun to
Yeah.
like, take turns and stuff. But I was on a mission too, like I wanted to hang out with the Pink Boots girls, which was amazing. I know we're going to talk about the
Yes.
Airbnb experience, but so I came up early and hung out with you guys, and then I really got a really cool opportunity to hang out with my distribution
Yes.
sales team that is north, so they don't usually come to Tampa. So I got to get to know them a little bit better, get into some shenanigans, because
Of course.
everything was walkable. So there were shenanigans that were had, but it was a very good time.
Yeah. Now we ended up in what we all now think is a haunted Airbnb. So
Right.
Pink Boot Society, we were up there for
I was
about
so
4.5 days.
I was trying to calm Riley down so much, like, it's fine, but yeah, probably.
It's good. So we all got, a lot of us got there Wednesday. People kind of were in and out. But we had this great collaboration. We brewed with Ology. Ology has 3 locations in Tallahassee and a location in Tampa. So we got
Wild.
to go
Go
to Ology
Ology.
on Power Mill.
So
If you're
cool.
from Tallahassee, then you'll know where Power Mill is. If you're not, then, just trust me. So we brewed a hazy with them. It's going to come out. It's a collaboration beer with Pink Boots and Ology. It was so much fun. Nick from Ology was one of the most gracious hosts. We got to tour the facility. We
So
got to
cool.
have some of their beers. They have a huge line of spirits, just like an absolutely huge line of spirits, which we got to try some of. It was such a great day. And
Yeah.
and then we like
And beautiful
that night we
packaging.
went to
Not to
what?
be like a nerd about it,
Like,
but like
no,
so pretty.
gorgeous. Gorgeous. And then the next day we went, oh my gosh, we were all over on Friday because we went to Ology in Midtown, which is close to the Capitol, which is the one that I always went to when I was in Tallahassee. So we went there. Then we went to Deep Brewing, which if you
Yeah.
haven't been there, it's a little on the outskirt, and absolutely gorgeous. It's just an absolutely gorgeous facility, and their beer was very good, and the
Fantastic
food
beer.
was amazing.
Yes.
So if
All
you
the way
want a good
around.
beer and a good one,
5 stars.
oh,
Their owners, fantastic. Got to talk to them. So we actually went back because the boys from Gulfport heard that I had gone to the Deep without them, and they were like, "Absolutely not." So we're gonna go there before we left. So that was our
yeah,
last stop before leaving town, and then we got to hang out with their owner for a little bit. And they're just such a good team overall.
yes,
Like fantastic beers. I got a flight. That was one of the places I told you in the last episode that I got a couple flights while we were traveling because I wanted to try a little bit of everything and experience all of it. And I was really impressed by everything that they had going on there too.
yeah. And then we went to Amicus before we went to
Amicus.
like, yes. And
Not to
I
pick
couldn't,
favorites, but holy guacamole.
oh my gosh. Like, if you ever wanted to see the most friendly owners
Yeah.
that, I mean, as soon as we came in, like, not even just like the welcome, it was the light up of their eyes just to
Yeah.
have Pink Boots there and to be able to talk to us and then to introduce us to their brewer,
Yeah.
assistant brewer, who is now almost head brewing a little bit, kind of dipping her toes into being like the brewer.
Very
Amelia, who was
such a
amazing.
sweetheart. Yeah.
And he was so excited to introduce her to Pink Boot Society, to our show, like anything that he could do to support women in the industry. And he honestly told us how amazing she was. Like, she didn't have to, she just kind of stood there while he was like, she is so amazing and she's the best brewer. And
It
even
was
when I'm
just
not.
it was so wholesome and like so
Yes.
genuine. And I don't think that
Yes.
she was expecting like the praise. Like I could tell she was a little taken back by that. So, for us to be like, hey, you want to do a podcast with us? We'd love to hear about you. And she was just like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
We kind of sprung it on them a little bit, but oh man, what a cool team and what a great,
Yeah.
every beer I had there was delicious. And I
It was
was
great.
sad that we had such a, exciting schedule, but it was also kind of a tight schedule. But
Yes.
that was my pick for the weekend was Mosaic Dreams,
Yeah.
which was the IPA. Actually, you tried a little bit of it too, but what a really wild building too, because it was like a water
Yes.
treatment plant, right?
Yeah.
So it was just like kind of on this hill, which Tallahassee apparently has those. I had no
Everything's
idea,
uphill both ways.
but it was just I felt like I was like in a Hobbit's brewery,
Yes.
just so like
And
green,
the brick and all the
beautiful,
like
and the brick. It was
columns.
just stunning. Yeah,
Stunning. Yeah, so that was super fun. And then, of course, Tallahassee Beer Fest, which you have not been to before. I have been.
no, first time.
I actually went with Hoppy Brands, my marketing company, several times. And so I've always loved it. It is my favorite of every year. It is so big and they are so nice there. The organizers are so easy to work with. They're
Wow.
so nice. They love the industry. And all of it is actually to raise money for some local charities. Their goal this year was to raise $100,000. They have not announced yet if they've hit that goal, but they did say that they were fairly close and they were still kind of compiling numbers. Last year they had raised, last year or the year before it was $50,000. And this goes into local charities in that community. So what a great way to not only support beer culture, but also support charities in the Tallahassee area. I love going there, but we got to meet so many cool people that we don't
So
ever get to see.
I know.
So
it was kind of overwhelming, honestly. And, in addition to like different companies that came over from like, because we're so close to Georgia. So we had
Georgia,
so many new breweries that I hadn't heard of before, breweries obviously in North Florida that you don't get to see very often. A few people that we saw in Jacksonville, like, oh, hey, I
right?
just saw you last week. This is great. But also the amount of home brewers in Tallahassee
Yes,
area was amazing and so cool that they included home brewers. I think they're often, not recognized enough for all of the
right.
amazing things that they do. But that was really cool.
Did hear a couple beer enthusiasts complain that there were so many home brewers, and I honestly want to push back on that. And I know there's going to be people that are like, "No, you don't understand." But no, I if you like the next people that are going to be your head brewers
Yeah.
are the ones that are home brewing. And why not like really embrace that if you're going to
Embrace
embrace
the
beer
culture.
culture,
Absolutely. That you literally just took the words out of my mouth. Yes, like, the breweries that you know and love right now, so many of those brewers started as home brewers, and
yes,
it's such a I feel like it's almost a lost art because it is an expensive fucking hobby.
it's an expensive
I wish
hobby.
I could do it.
Right.
I wish
I
I
wish I
had,
had the capital to do it. Yeah.
made more time and had more, resources to do it. And the only thing that I can think of is that, to join a homebrew club and just get involved and things like that. So that is my plan for next summer to be more hanging out with more of my homebrew homies,
Yes. Yeah.
which thankfully
Yeah.
I know a handful of really great ones. So
We do. And I will say, so when I have to be like, if you're at an event and you are working for Gulfport, I will normally ask a few people to come help me out.
yeah,
And we had one of our listeners, it's a couple, Steve and Becky. They came out. Yes,
so
thank you
sweet.
guys. They came out to help me for the beer fest. They helped me set up, and then they helped me throughout so that I didn't get stuck behind the booth. I could go out and meet people and take more video. But then they also went out, and as they were going to booths, they would be like, "Hey, we're interviewing women in the industry." They were so amazing, so helpful. And he is also a home brewer. So he got very inspired going around and being like, wow, there's like like this is such a it's almost a community within the community, because they are also so helpful to one another.
Yeah.
And these clubs are just, they become each other's best friends, and it's just it's a great culture. And then the outside, the bigger breweries will be like, hey, come brew with us, and those little tweaks that you may need, we can show you and stuff like that. So I think it's amazing. I was so happy that they had so many home brewers there, so I loved it.
Me too.
I always love that event. It is one of the coolest events of the year. But in that time, until
Sing it, sassy sided chick.
we got some amazing news, and the amazing news kept coming. Yeah, when we started hitting some real numbers, like some bigger numbers, I started reaching out, and just, I'm always like, that saying, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes.
And so I'm like, you know what? I think that we have respectable enough numbers and to actually start applying for some of these other opportunities.
Yeah.
And I told you guys when I applied, like, this is a long shot. Like,
Hmm.
but one of them is to be considered credentialed media. And it's not easy, by the way. So to be considered credentialed media, you have to show, viewers, you have to show longevity in the industry, you have to show that you have the right, know-how and equipment, and that what you're doing is providing an actual media service to the industry. It's an intense process. And I was like, I don't even know if we qualify, but we're going to send it all in and see.
Let's see what
And
happens.
right. And so we got an email while we were in Tallahassee. I was at Ology. You were on your way,
He was
actually. And
driving. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I had pulled over to get chicken fingers.
yeah, and I was at Ology do it with Pink Boots, and we got an email from the Great American Beer Fest in Colorado, which is the biggest. I mean, this is like, if beer had a Super Bowl, this would be it. And we were approved to be nationally recognized credentialed media through Great American Beer Fest. I want to scream, but like, I don't want to hurt your ears.
We'll just mute it for a second. We'll just go.
Yeah. So we've got invited to Colorado, to Denver, Colorado in it's the second weekend of October, and to be credentialed media. And at the same time, and I want to give a shout out to Aaron Gore from the Fifth Ingredient. He had kind of really he had really pushed me to get more involved with the Cider Association. Even though like I drink all beer, cider is also one of those beer. It's one of the products, just like NA beer, that is still actually on the rise and not in decline. So people who are still drinking alcohol are moving to ciders and sours and things like that in bigger numbers than maybe in some other areas. But it is still on the rise. And he really pushed me to really dig into that because I do like ciders and I do like that it's kind of the bridge between wine and beer. And I love that. And so I had reached out to the Cider Association, who is going to do a joint conference with the National Brewers Association in San Antonio next spring. And they have reached back out to me to become more involved with CiderCon. And for the podcast itself is also being looked at to be credentialed media for the National Brewers Association conference in Austin in the spring. Along with all of that, because if we weren't screaming in our rooms and not in the Airbnb, like if we weren't high-fiving and
we definitely did not jump around on the bed at all. Just
no. We also got invited to almost every beer fest around the state.
Yep.
Yeah, just
we're doing it.
Like, we see that you're highlighting women in the industry. I have so many emails of beer fest people, like the organizers, going, here's all the great women that we want you to interview while you're here.
Amazing.
Because they're just making our beer culture in this area just what it is. And so we just started getting invite after invite after invite. And like our schedule from like here until like April is like two beer fests a month. Sometimes we're traveling out of state. It is insane the amount of people that, and I want to say this, it is because of what we're doing, but it's a vision that we had to give women in the industry a voice. And giving women in the industry a voice is resonating with the entire industry. Not just women in the industry, not just women enthusiasts, but men in the industry, men enthusiasts. People are saying, like, there's a whole community that didn't realize that these women were out there and that they were making such huge contributions to the industry. Now, the people that work with them always knew. But I think that... Go ahead.
Well, I have a little something to add to that because as much positive feedback as we have received from specifically owners who have, female staff that they're like, oh my gosh, you are going to do this. Please highlight this person. This person's so amazing. I'm so proud to have them on my team. In addition to the positive comments, we've also gotten some negative comments.
We have.
Which is fine. Again, but I want to just really take an opportunity to say we're here to empower and inspire and tell stories of women.
Yes.
And we're not here to exclude the men and to not hear the story of amazing men in the industry that are doing powerful, impactful, innovative things in the industry. It's just that often other podcasts, which, no discredit to them, other podcasts also interview women too. We are special in the way that we're creating a space for women to be able to have these conversations where typically there isn't a seat at the table. There isn't the first opportunity that you get to interview someone so often isn't a female, unfortunately. So we're not here to be men haters or criticize or to be sexist. In fact, we're trying to do the opposite by creating equality and to be able to allow women who have been in the industry just as long, if not longer, or just starting out to be able to tell their stories and not even negative stories. To be honest, I think we're the sassiest ones out of everybody, really.
Probably.
you know, we're not even focusing on, hey, what was the most negative thing that you had happen to you in the industry, which we could do literally nothing but stories about that. We're not doing that. We're focusing on the positive impact that all of these amazing women, you know, in all different branches of
Yes.
this beautiful industry that we're part of, we want to hear their positive stories because that's just as important
Yes.
as a man's story. So we had several people say like, "Why can't you interview me? Because I'm a man." That's sexist.
Yes.
And much love to you. We're not saying that we're never going to do that, but right now we've got a whole list of all of these amazing women, and we haven't heard their story yet. So let's take the time to do that first. You know,
And I
create
do
that space.
think that we also like when I said about Nicketology, who is so wonderful to us, or the whole team over at Tampa Bay Brewing, like that has been such huge supporters. This isn't to take away from the men in the industry. It's just to give a platform to the women in the industry because they so often don't have that platform. And it's not that it may not always be that way, but right now I feel like it's one of the things, and I know that she would be okay with me saying, like, the one thing that Karen from Great Florida Beer, had said is she said, "I've done so many podcasts where I didn't feel like anyone actually cared about what I had to say. And when I came onto your podcast, you seemed like you genuinely wanted to hear me."
Yeah.
And I think
That was such a great episode too. And you know, sorry, go ahead.
no, and I
Add
think
on it.
that that's what people don't like, some people in the industry don't understand, is that even when we get the opportunity to speak, the people we don't always get a platform that is friendly to our story.
Sure. So they're asking, like often in my experience,
Yes.
they're asking the wrong questions.
Yeah.
And so there's this really, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. We can giggle about it now. But like there's this hilarious, you know, interview process where they sit down all these male CEOs and they ask them questions about like, what's it like to balance work and your home life?
Yes.
You know, when you got into your position, did you feel like your emotions really were an issue for you? And the guys are like, the heck? You know, and
Yeah.
they've done it with sports stuff too. Like, tell us about your outfit. And the guys are like, why would you ask me that question? That's so irrelevant. But so many interviews with females, whether they're, you know, athletes or celebrities or CEOs, you know, they're asking the most or they're just asking the most ridiculous questions. They would never
Yes.
ask a man that. You know, so it's kind of a satire thing. So it is hilarious, but also
Right.
it's really just pointing out that like that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, you know, allow the conversation to be a normal conversation
Right.
that has nothing to do with, you know, you're not a female brewer. You're a brewer.
Right. You're a brewer.
You're not a female salesperson. You're not a female sellerman. You're just a salesperson. You're a
Right.
sellerman.
Right.
Like we're not doing a female podcast. We're podcasters.
Right. Yeah. And
So
and
I
I
don't know.
do think that down the
We
road.
have to giggle about it though.
Yeah, right? And I mean, I think that down the road we probably will be maybe more balanced in that, but I think right now you're having women who are really feeling not as accepted from, and not even from the people that they work with, because I will tell you, and I said this when we were in Tallahassee, some of the biggest supporters of the women in the industry are the men in the industry, because when you say, oh, I'd love to interview, like we interview women in the industry, and they're like, I have the perfect person for you.
I got one
She's
of
so
those. Let me
amazing.
go grab her.
Let me go get her, because she is the most amazing person, and she's the reason why our brewery like does as well as it does, and you need to hear her story. So I'm not saying that this is like an issue in the industry. I have never felt disrespected from my peers in the industry ever. But I do know that when people are talking about our industry, it's assumed that everyone who's contributing is a man, and or contributing in the higher up levels and things like that.
You know what you
They're
meant,
like,
but I'm glad that you clarified that for our listeners because there is a difference, right? But like
yes,
yeah, you're just, and to the point of, you know, the person that I had specifically had one conversation with, though I've had this conversation many times, they just were like, I don't see gender, I don't see color, which is a beautiful thing. But I had to, like, you know, pat them on the back and say, like, hey, you know, I love that you think that way.
Yeah, and that's
It's
great.
amazing that you as a business owner really do think like that.
And
But
your team appreciates it, and I appreciate it when I
and
work
we
with you.
appreciate it. But not
Yeah,
everybody sees it that way. So
right.
we're just here to we're just here to, you know, put a seat at the table for these kinds of conversations. And I can't believe that we get to do that all over the country now. Like,
It is
that's insane.
it is one of the most exciting things, like, I can't wait to the point where this is what we get to do, like, full time if we want, like, and I feel like that's a path that could happen, where I think when we first started, it was just like, let's just see how it goes." Where now I'm seeing, like, a real, like, we're doing it. And people like it, and they see the things that we've seen. And I mean, I've said this, like, I think that the craft beer industry needs to claim its professionalism, and that includes the women and the men that are, literally, like, we're talking about advanced degrees and, STEM careers and things that make this industry so wonderful. And we get to tell some of those stories. And I think that other podcasters are also telling those stories, but they're telling it in a different way. And we've just chosen a path that may be a little different than other podcasters. And it's not, I mean, we love the whole industry. Like, I want to make that very clear. There is no, like, well, I only like women in the industry. No, I love the industry as a whole. And I just saw this, like, it's like going in an industry and saying, well, everybody likes, and I'm going to use this, even though, I don't like them. Everybody loves light lagers, but in this area, nobody's making it. Well, then somebody should. And it's not because they hate stouts or that they hate IPAs. It's that there was a hole in the market, and they're filling the hole in the market.
That's a great
And,
analogy. That's
and
really
that's
nice.
what we're
And I
doing.
love that you utilized your hatred for light lagers in the process. But feminism isn't, you know, I mean, hey, listen, everybody's got their own opinions and
Right.
whatnot. But from the studies and the books and the, you know, things that I've learned in my life, you know, feminism isn't about man hating. It's about creating equality. And sometimes
Yes.
that's equal pay. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's equal conversation.
Yes.
But
And equal recognition.
it's more about equality than it is about, like, specific, you know,
Yeah.
bringing them above, saying that women's voices
Right.
are more important. We're not saying that. We're just saying,
Right.
like, you should hear both sides of the story. So,
Yes, it was
anyway.
just as I'm listening to media about the industry that I love, I
Yeah.
found a hole in the market that wasn't being filled. And I was like, that is an easy one for us to fill. And we had a vision to fill it, and we're doing that. And that's just it. I mean, it's not to take away from any other part of the industry at all. It's
We
just to
Yeah.
fill a void that we saw.
We have so many
Just like
amazing
if your
women.
menu had a void, you would put that style of beer on it. We found a void in media, and we're filling it. And that's 100% all of it. In all of these opportunities, the one thing that we do have to have, because we have been 100% paying for everything, and it has been an investment that we have not minded making at all to make this happen. But with all of the travel, it is going to become more expensive than we had planned, because we didn't plan on getting all these opportunities so quickly.
Thanks, universe, for all these wonderful opportunities. How are we going to make it happen?
How are we going to do this? So there's a couple things. We are going to be putting out a GoFundMe, because we need to upgrade some equipment to be able to interview in crowds. Which, if you've heard our episode from Tallahassee, once it gets really loud in the room, our equipment doesn't handle that well. So we need to do some upgrading, which honestly isn't even that much of an upgrading, but we want to be able to have mics that we can go around in the crowd and talk to people as they're enjoying the festival, because we want to hear those stories too, of like what people are enjoying. And we can't do that because they have to be in our booth, and it has to be, can you hear us, and headsets. So we do need to upgrade some equipment, but we also have a lot of travel to pay for. Every single event is inviting us for free, all of us, and if we want to bring a crew member or two. So if we have that equipment where we can film and be on camera, we can even have crew with us. They're willing to literally give us all of those spots for free for every single one
Amazing.
of these events.
So that's so amazing.
Amazing. Like seriously, thank everyone. Thank you so much. So we are looking for sponsors. If you would like to sponsor the show, we will put your name on our shirts so that at every event that we're at, it'll say supported by, and it will have your logo on every single one of our shirts, no matter what the design is. You will be on there, and our crew shirts. So if we have someone that is videoing us while we go around, it'll be on their shirt too. I can't even believe we're at a point where we can say a crew shirt.
You have to stop saying if, and you have to start saying when. So when
When,
we're out and about at the Great American, I know it takes a minute, but you have to
right?
when we're there because we're
Well,
coming out.
we're making crew shirts because there's going to be some events that we actually have to have a camera person
So
come
wild.
with us so we can do this. But you'll be on our crew shirt, you'll be on our shirts for the whole event, even as we travel there and back, because we want to make sure you get as much exposure as you want. If you are a brewery, if you have a business, a local business that just loves breweries, if you are a vendor like, hops or yeast or, like malt or any of those things, then you just want to sponsor and just promote women's voices in the industry, but help us get to all these amazing things. We definitely want to put you on a shirt. If you're just a listener that just says, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I love hearing your random funny takes on things. I actually was at an event this week where I was introducing the podcast and someone in the back goes, and they're so funny. So if you just enjoy that, then we have a GoFundMe set up also. If you're a business that sponsors through the GoFundMe, that's cool too. We'll put your send us your logo, and we'll make sure that gets on there. But if you just want to help us out and get us out there, that is going to be coming out. We're going to be putting that out. But I can't thank everybody enough for everything.
So amazing. Like it's so just
It's like surreal.
yeah.
And I said this yesterday, if anybody's watching any of my videos, I actually said, like, you don't know you've made it until you had some haters. And so for every 500 positive comments and interactions that we have one that goes bad. And you know what? That's kind of par for the course. I laugh about it and I like to make a big joke out of it
Shake it
because
off, baby.
I'm like, I didn't even know I had made it until I had a hater. So like, awesome. But yeah, so it's been so positive. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And let's do this together and hear more voices in the industry as we go around the country. Yes, like what? But as we go around the country to be able to bring more of those voices to you, thank you for kind of partnering with us. And from the bottom of my heart, like, you will never know what this means to me. And I'm, I'm speechless at this point.
Back at you. Thank you for dragging me into this and encouraging Taylor to be a
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting. I try not to expect, like, oh, like, we'll get together, we'll chat. There was a point where I was like, I can do once a month. Like, that's cool. I love talking to you. We get on these, 2-hour long phone calls. Like, we might
I
as
know.
well, include some other people in the conversation. And maybe we're not the only ones having these ideas or these thoughts or these, just wonderful, beautiful conversations. So I wouldn't be here without you.
But I love you. I love all of our listeners and our viewers. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. We only go up from here and sky's the limit. So come with us on this journey and we will put that all out. And I can't thank you enough for all of it. But we will see you on the next episode. We do have another interview coming out because, of course, we talked to some other badass woman in the beer industry that I cannot wait for you to hear from. And we're going to keep going. She's so good. So thank you all. And Taylor should be back with us very soon because we do desperately miss her. But thank you.
Return of the Taylor. Bye, guys. Cheers.